Yeah, today we're going to keep talking about angles and how they interact with arcs in circles. And this time we're going to talk about what happens when the vertex is inside the circle but not at the center of the circle. And so here we have two chords. These are called chords. They are segments that are inside of a circle. They touch the circle twice. And they're intersecting, and we have these angles formed where we have a vertex Q, and that vertex is pretty clearly not at the center of the circle. And so what happens is, because of these two chords intersecting, we create a bunch of angles, and if we want to know what this angle is, it's going to intercept this arc here. And then we have this other angle that's vertical to the angle we're interested in, which means they're the same size. And it's going to intercept another arc, which in this case, those two arcs are the same, but please don't get confused. They're not always going to be the same. So this might be a bad example for that reason, but just know that these two arcs that are being intercepted are not always going to be the same. And so we have this relationship that exists where if we take this angle we're interested in, if we multiply it by 2, there's 2 of them. So I'm going to say 2 times the angle, and I'm going to abbreviate that. We have 2 arcs. So if we take those 2 arcs and we add them together, I'm going to call one of them arc 1 and the other one arc 2. It doesn't matter which is which, because when we add things, it doesn't matter which order we add in. So this is the relationship that exists. If we take those 2 angles, we can either add them together or we can multiply the angle measure by 2, whichever way you want to look at it, because those 2 angles are always going to be congruent because they're vertical angles, remember. If we take those 2 angles and we add them together or we multiply the angle by 2, it's equal to the arcs added together. And so in this case, we have this angle question mark. And then we have these 2 arcs, 60 and 60. Again, they're the same in this example, but they're not always going to be the same. And now we have an equation to solve. And we can divide by 2. And we can find that this angle is also 60. Again, this is not always going to work out to be where the arcs are the same. So we'll do some more examples and we'll show you that that's not always going to be the case. So what this means, though, is that both of these angles, this angle that we're looking for and then this angle that's vertical to it, are both 60. That's always going to be true. Those 2 angles are always going to be the same because they're vertical angles. Remember, vertical angles are congruent. They're always equal. And so that part is going to be true, but the arcs aren't always going to be the same. So let's see if we can do one where they're not the same. I find it that it's a really good idea to always draw the picture. It doesn't have to be perfect, but drawing the picture helps you mark the picture up so we can see here. I want to know what is that angle. It's going to be the same as this angle, so I might put a question mark there as well. It's good to highlight the arcs that are being intercepted. So there's one of my arcs created by this angle. And here's my other arc created by the vertical angle. And then it's good to always write the relationship. So we're going to take the angle and we're going to multiply it by 2. And that's going to be equal to the arcs added together. And so my angle is question mark. So I can substitute that in. And then it doesn't matter which arc is arc 1, which one's arc 2. We're just going to add those 2 arcs together, 50 and 104. And now we have an equation to solve. Divide by 2 here. And we will get 77 degrees. So each of these angles right here, that's question mark, that one, and then the one that's vertical to it will be 77 degrees. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to go ahead and try this one. The question will pop up for you to put your answer in. Give this one a try. Make sure you answer this question and then move on. So the other way we can see this is if we're looking for one of the arc measures. We're going to do the same process. It's just going to be a little different when we solve it. We know this angle is 93. That means this one's the same. This angle is making the arc we're looking for. And this vertical angle is making this arc that we know is 56. So again, we should write the relationship. We're going to take the angle and multiply it by 2 because there's two of them that are the same. And then we're going to add the two arcs together. But this time we know what the angle is. It's 93, so we can replace that with 93. We know one of the arcs is what we're looking for, and then the other arc is 56. So again, we have an equation to solve. Now we're just looking for a different piece. So we can do 93 times 2 and get 186. Oops. That's supposed to be a plus. And now I'd like to move my 56 over here. And that's going to make it a negative 56. And I can find that my arc that I'm looking for is 130 degrees. So that arc I wanted to know here is 130 degrees. So we're using the same relationship, we're just finding a different piece. In the first few, we wanted to find out how big was the angle there created by those two chords that had a vertex inside the circle. This time we want to know what is one of the arc measures that's created by those two chords intersecting and having a vertex inside the circle. Same relationship, same setup, same idea, now just solving for a different piece of the puzzle basically. So let me do another one. Here we know this angle is 99. That means that angle is also 99. Just so we, keep driving home the fact that vertical angles are congruent. We want to know this arc that's created by that 99-degree angle with its vertex inside the circle, but not at the center. The vertical angle that's also 99 degrees creates this arc that we know is 90. And so we have this relationship because we have angles inside the circle where their vertex is not at the center. We have the relationship where we take that angle and multiply it by 2. And that should be equal to those two arcs they create added together. And so if we identify the information we know, write the relationship, now we can just plug in the information into the relationship where it belongs. So my angle is 99 degrees. One of my arcs I'm looking for, question mark. The other arc I know is 90. And if you do 90 plus question mark, that works too. It doesn't matter. We can add whichever way. You'll still get the same answer. So here we get 198. I'm going to move this over here, and it's going to be negative. If you ever have questions on solving equations here or how I'm solving, I might solve a little differently than you. That's okay. If you have questions, make sure you ask one of us. Put these two together, and I get 108. So my arc that I'm looking for is 108 degrees. So again, I want you to give this one a try. There'll be a little question box that pops up here. Do this one. If you have questions, you need help, let us know. So I have 3 more problems I want you to do. I have them into the lesson here. Instead of them popping up with the picture, you can look at the picture here, and the question box will pop up like it has throughout the video today. So make sure you answer these 3 questions. If you need help while you're working through them, as always, ask for help. And then please do make sure you do some extra practice that we've posted on Canvas for you. Take your time here, and good luck.